This video is brought to you by Squarespace, the all-in-one website platform you need if you don't know how to make a website. I'm a sucker for fancy chocolates, and when I heard a particular podcast raving about these chocolates, I really wanted to try them and also create my own Pokemon characters based off of these chocolates. No, Sock Kasey. These are too fancy for you. Don't, Sock Kasey. That's what I thought. What was I saying? Just take a look at these chocolates. They are very fancy. And the Sock Kasey, are you serious? I told you I was going to make a video with these chocolates. It wasn't me. It was ham and cheese. My cats opened up the box of chocolate, neatly ate them, and packaged them back up. Are you kidding me? If it makes you feel any better, I only ate the ones that there were two of, so you didn't miss anything. Well, thank you, Sock Kasey, but it looks like she said, we have one of each at least left. She only ate the duplicates. Look at these chocolates. They're pretty... Okay, maybe she was right. Maybe my cats did eat the chocolate. Are you kidding me, Ham? If you've ever had cookie butter, this tastes just like a cookie butter filled chocolate. But to be completely honest, if you want to save a few bucks, you can just go to the store, buy some speculoos cookie butter, and just eat it straight out of the jar, and I would be just as happy with that. So in today's video, because I've been asked so many times if I'm playing Pal World, which the answer is no, I thought we could come up with some Pokemon designs based off of these chocolates because they're just so interesting. So starting off with this one, and this might be a common theme because chocolate is brown, it just reminded me of mud. Maybe it was the speculoos, but I was looking at the inside of this chocolate with the blue hard shell on the outside, and I just thought water on the outside, mud on the inside. A muddy duck. Think Tangela, but instead of a mass of weird tentacles, it's a mass of mud that this duck is constantly covered in, so you don't know what the duck actually looks like. It's just this drippy, gooey, muddy duck in plants. And if you're wondering why its beak looks like that, it's because I was imagining what I said, scooping out the cookie butter from the jar and eating it. So I thought maybe its beak is spoon-shaped and it helps it put mud on itself? I don't know, I was just trying to think of a way to make this more than just a duck covered in mud, which, to be fair, a lot of Pokemon are literally just that. After I colored this one, I thought that kind of looks like Farfetch'd, which kind of matches the theme. Pal World rips off of Pokemon, which is kind of what I'm doing. So there's our first little guy. It definitely has hints of black tea, but I think this one might be a little too sweet for my personal taste. Visually, I was pretty inspired by those green speckles on top. You guys know I love green, and the speckles are so cute. So being a tea flavored chocolate, I was thinking, what if this Pokemon was some sort of rock creature that had a crevice inside of it where water collected? I was tempted at first to make it a mug shaped, but I just thought that was too obvious and ridiculous. So I just created this weird dinosaur guy with a hole in his back. You know, way less ridiculous than a mug-shaped rock walking around. Filled it with water and a little fish. Is that fish a Pokemon? Who knows? And to represent those green specks on top of the chocolate, I added some moss growing up there because I'm sure if we have a rock walking around with water inside of it, there's going to be some plant life as well. And just look at the smug face on this guy. He's just so cheeky. And if you're cheeky, you're probably drinking tea. Though this begs the question, if he's a rock type and he's got water inside of him, what does that mean? Is he weak against it? I'm gonna be honest, when it comes to types of Pokemon, I get confused, so I'm gonna stop talking about that. Second guy done. Double Yuzu has a nice citrus pop to it, a little bit of jelly at the top. I like it. So I wanted to create a creature that had the design of two yuzu fruit in it, and at first I was thinking maybe something double-headed, maybe a head made out of two yuzu. Then I started to think about the butt head of, what's his name, Magmar? I didn't want another butthead Pokemon. That guy disgusts me. So I went with a yuzu-inspired octopus, and instead of being a water-based octopus, I say this octopus is more, think of it like, instead of being an octopus, it's like a snake with 8 tails and a really fat head. normal stuff. So this double yuzu octopus actually lives in yuzu trees where it blends in. You know, looking like 8 elongated yuzu. That's so normal looking. And it spits stuff at why am I trying to make this make sense? This is the design I went with. I put a leaf on his head, a little stick sticking out. This guy is camouflaged if, like I said, elongated yuzu are growing on your fruit tree. So I like the color of this guy. I think he's sassy, he's cute, he is what he is. He's double yuzu. Look, I know you're here just for the sponsor of the video, Squarespace. Just go along with it. Did you know that Squarespace uses Fluid Engine, a next-generation website design system from Squarespace? It's never been easier for anyone to unlock unbreakable creativity. Did you know that? It's got drag-and-drop technology. Flexible website templates. For people like me, and probably you, who don't know how to make a website, simply choose your template of choice, update it, add features. It's super easy. And if portfolios aren't your thing, you can even make your own online shop. Whether you're selling digital, physical, or service products, Squarespace has the tools you need to start selling online. So head to squarespace.com for a free trial, and when you're ready to launch, go to squarespace.com/KaseyGolden to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Let's create more pals, I mean Pokemon. Hibiscus honey, very good. The textures, the colors, this one's going to be a fun design. Well, this was going to be a fun design until I looked at this little guy and I thought, it just kind of looks like some sort of red orby thing in the middle of this chocolate covered in chocolate. And since we're in the spirit of copying Pokemon, let's just make a mud. You could even describe it as a mucky mud, grimy mud Pokemon. He's a mud pile. He's just a seeping, oohing, goozy pile of mud that's alive. And to incorporate that red fruit, this little guy really likes these red fruits. So he goes around eating these red fruits, and you can probably always find this Pokemon carrying one of these red fruits. Definitely doesn't look like any other Pokemon that would probably be a color that I don't like, with the little known fact of being a dirty word spelled backwards. I don't know what you're talking about. Jokes aside, I actually really do like the design of this guy. It is just a pile of mud, but his face is really cute. His little arms are cute. He just looks so happy to be eating that berry. Does he look like duty diarrhea? Yes, but he's still cute and we love him. Coffee Toffee, definitely more on the bitter and not so much sweet side, which I personally like. But what sort of character can we come up with this guy? We already had a tea flavored Pokemon, so I wanted to think about coffee beans. What's coffee? I thought to myself, well, let's start off by doodling something on this guy that looks like coffee. So I drew the eyes very close together, and they're sort of coffee bean shaped, but also not really. And I started to try to think about different shapes that coffee comes in. I started to think about how I make coffee, and I end up with these little ground coffee pucks. Where do those coffee pucks go? They go into the compost. So I started to imagine just this big pile of coffee grounds and compost and just trash, which a trash Pokemon does exist, but a compost Pokemon doesn't exist. So here we have a sort of mole or sloth-like creature slowly moving around with this pile of rotting garbage on top of it, and I bet this guy stinks real bad. You see him crawling past your house and you just think, ah, yes, it's compost day. Let me just throw my garbage on top of this Pokemon as it slowly crawls by. And he loves it. He really does. This is a weird one. Let's move on. Next up is passion fruit, and I think I'm learning that maybe as I get older I like fruit in my chocolate more, or maybe they just do it right. Okay, a passion fruit designed Pokemon. This should be cute, right? Grass type, colorful, fruity, adorable. Do you know what a passion fruit looks like? It's horrifying. This fruit looks, look, if you love passion fruit, more power to you. It tastes good, but have you looked at one? It's just full of, are those seeds? Little things covered in goop. It's not pretty. What is your passion? Gooey, ooey, nasty things? I'm such a hater. Okay, I wanted to create one of those Pokemon that is like several Pokemon in one. So I imagine when you hatch a Pokemon by taking a bunch of steps as you do, your egg begins to hatch and what comes out? Oh boy, like 50 little fetus baby ball things. Now this is just the first evolution of this Pokemon. I'm sure it evolves into something with much less heads, which begs the question of where did the other babies go? I'm looking at you, Exeggutor. I'm looking at you. Also, that Pokemon freaks me out too. All Pokemon that are more than one Pokemon to make the one Pokemon freak me out. Anyways, we have this cluster that comes out of an egg and it's disgusting, and enjoy your blob Pokemon, I guess. It's literally just a blob of fetuses. I hope you have a jar to carry your Pokemon around because it's literally just a blob. Enjoy. Salted caramel is next. Personally, I like a very hard and chewy caramel, but this one has a nice flavor, and I like the color too. That soft eggshell blue. And that eggshell blue is going to be the main inspiration for this Pokemon. Have you ever tried to draw an egg? Stupidest questions in this video. I've learned that drawing an egg shape, which I've done in the past, but this really just confirms it. It took me a really long time to draw that egg shape. It was bad. Anyway, so the main inspiration for this guy is that eggshell blue, and all I could imagine was, and yes, a Pokemon that is a bird in an eggshell does already exist, but like I said, we are ripping off Pokemon designs today, so let's go. This guy is literally a raw egg that has busted out of the shell and is now a bird. Now, is it one of the more weaker designs from this video? Absolutely, but it's weird and I wanted to draw this absolutely messed up creature. As you can see, there are bits of white flying off of this creature as it flies through the air. How does it fly? I don't know. Where do those bits of egg go? Does it ever get it back? Does it eventually fall apart? Why is the yolk in the brain? Is that its head? Does it have a brain? Does it have organs? Well, I am starting to question the logistics of Pokemon a little too much, so that is going to be that for this guy. Starting to freak me out. Rose is a very hard flavor, I feel like, to not overpower. The white chocolate is also a lot. I'm just excited to play around with the colors on this one. Specs are very cute. Man, the specs were very cute. Pink and green. And the white on the inside. There was a lot of colors and fun layering going on with this design. And what do? I draw a pistachio with legs. Originally, I really wanted to incorporate some more flowery aspects, but once I thought about this pistachio shelled guy with a big tongue hanging out of his mouth, just running through a field being whatever he is, I had to draw him. He kind of looks like a weird Pikmin character. Actually, he looks like a pretty normal Pikmin character. If I saw this in a Pikmin game, I would think, yeah, this checks out. If I saw this in a Pokemon game, I would think, am I playing Pal World? Am I right, guys? I don't know. He's goofy, he's cute, he's got a big tongue. I imagine he probably evolves into something that has a little bit more of a rose design. But for now, oh, he's kind of like a dog. I guess he could evolve into a big, thorny rose dog, but right now he's just a little pistachio puppy. Look at him go. He's so dumb. Chocolate on the outside with graham crackers and marshmallow on the inside and cinnamon. Yeah, this one's the best. Are you kidding me? It's got texture. It's got flavor. It's got character design potential. I'm not going to lie, I was actually the most excited to design a character based off this chocolate. It was my favorite flavor, and also I just felt like there were a lot of elements happening for it. I looked up some Pokemon designs that were based off of food, and as much as I love food design things, I feel like the food design Pokemon were always my least favorite. And lo and behold, this is my least favorite design that I made in this video. I went a little too literal. We have a chocolate bunny goopy creature floating on top of what is supposed to be some sort of graham cracker tile. And it floats so high up in the sky, it's around the clouds, and the clouds represent, you guessed it, the marshmallow. At the end of the day, I look at this guy and I think, this is Gudetama's sweet best friend, S'moretama. I don't know, but it definitely looks more like a weird knockoff of Gudetama than it does a Pokemon. He's kind of silly, but his design is weak, much like his battle style. I bet this guy sucks. And that's that. Once again, thank you so much to Squarespace for sponsoring this video. Make yourself a website. Have you been playing Pal World? Let me know in the comments. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.